drum bussing. What we have going on here is we have all these drums being bussed over to these two right here. So the kick, the snare, normally I got like these kicks going to this channel. So both these kicks are going here, and both of these snares are going here. And then the floor toms, overheads, room mics, they're all going here. So if you look at the outputs, you'll see drums, 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 and then these say output 1 and 2, which are going to my main output, basically the mix bus, because they're not being affected by any of this here. And I do that sometimes. Sometimes I will put the room mics and the overheads with the drum buses. Other times I'll leave them alone and just do whatever I do on the individual channels. And from there I will basically use these two for the main drum elements, kick, snare, tom-toms, things like that. And then this is the exact same thing. If you notice, they say drums, drums. So both of these buses are named the same, and you might say, well, why do you do that? Well, let me tell you why I do that. I do that because I want one unaffected, and then I want one affected. Therefore, there's my parallel setup here. So when I do this, I can have a volume for either one. Okay, so let's just hear the drums. Let's go to my drum bus. So it should be these two here, so let's take a listen. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dry, I call it dry, which in my mind, that just means unaffected. That's just what I name it. You can name it whatever you want. So this one essentially is all of these things that I'm sending to this bus, which in this case is the kick drum. First I take these two and I blend them down to one. And I do the same with the snare, snare top, snare bottom, and it goes to the snare bus. And then from there, these outputs, snare output here, drums, kick output here, drums, and the tom-toms, floor tom 1, floor tom 2, tom 1. So there's 3 toms. They are going to the output to drums, and the overheads are not. They're going to the mix bus. So they're being not affected by this drum bus. And the room mic is the same, it's not going to this drum bus. So anything that says drums is going here. Drums and drums. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the drums now and watch these buses here, these green ones. This one here says comp is compressor, which it has here. And this one here it says dry is without compression, it's just a volume. And by doing this, you have the control of the compressor and the control of just the drums unaffected. And let me play a little so you can hear. And here we'll do the same thing. This time we'll turn off the unaffected drums so you hear just the compression. And both of them together. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the compression setting. So on the drums, I have this LA3 compressor, and that's it on this whole thing. And I just dial that into my liking. So let's see what happens. Looks like the drums are basically getting about -5 here on the meter. That's about the most compression I see happening is -5. And what I do is I just turn these knobs till I like it. The peak reduction is how much compression I'm going to get. The gain is volume. So let's play with these knobs a little bit and see what we get. You can see when I turn up the gain on this compressor, all it's doing is turning up volume. It's not changing the compression, it's just volume. So it's making this louder. If you watch this, when I bring it back to where it was, you'll see. So as you can see, as I turn up the knob, the compression doesn't change. It's not getting more compression because this peak reduction is the one that's going to give me more compression or less compression. This is basically just turning up the volume. So now let's see what happens with the peak reduction. So for my ears, if you watched me turn the peak reduction knob, the more compression I got, the more the drum sounded more dead. And that's fine. If you want to blend that in, that could work. For me, I liked about kind of where it is now, which is just about 5 dB of compression, because it still gives it some dynamics. It gives it a neat sound. I like the sound of this compressor. And it still gives the drums life. That's why I choose it. Depends on the song and what you're doing and what you're going for, of course. Sometimes you can squash the heck out of this thing and blend it in, and it can give you a neat sound. Other times I don't hit it hardly at all. Sometimes I don't even touch the knobs. I might turn it on and go, I like that, and I leave it. So there's really no rhyme or reason. It's just what you're hearing, what you're going for, what style of music it is, and how you like things to sound. Let me put that back. So there's my settings. So as you can see, this is just a little past 5, and this is just a little before 5. And the reduction of this comes about -5.